Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. I'm a little earlier this week so I can go enjoy the day. Lori's having therapy a little bit earlier, so we're going to go enjoy the late afternoon, evening. So today I want to talk about anxiety and some stress and loneliness. But before I do that, I am having some events here in December, returning home to health. This is really about returning home, returning to who we really are, that spirit, that consciousness. I'm actually going to do it two different times as a trial. So Tuesday, December 5th at 11 a.m., then Wednesday, December 6th at 7 p.m. I will create these links for tomorrow in the Beyond Head Trash group and Relief from Chronic Illness group. So they're basically small groups on Zoom, and it will be this group healing event about returning home to health. Then I guess after that, what I'm feeling to do is some individual healing as well. And my individual healing that I'll do that day is very similar to Charlie Goldsmith. If you ever saw the show The Healer, where he just tunes into that person and bounces the energy. That's really the closest that comes to what I do. Like, I was never trained in this. I never had a spiritual teacher. I just let go of all this mental noise and dove into the deeper essence of who I was, that we are this perfect spirit. So if you're watching, let me know if you have a question, say hello. I do have some cards around as well, or if you need some healing, I am here. But this is that time of year, perhaps, after the holidays, the feeling sense of loneliness, maybe some sadness, some depression, maybe even anxiety or additional stress from the holidays. And why is this? It's because the mind's really caught up in this story, that life should be different than it is. And when you're really consumed by these thoughts, this head trash, it can seem very isolating. It can seem like you're all alone because the mind's telling you that you're not worthy, you're not deserving, and all this stuff. And it's simply not true. And same with anxiety. Anxiety is another indication that you're not here in this moment. You're either in the past with regret, shame, I should have done something differently, or you're anxious because you don't know what the future is going to hold. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. You're facing a situation and you're not sure what the outcome is going to be, and this creates some anxiety because the mind hates not knowing. So we have to realize the future is not preset. It's not destined. Outcomes are never 100% certain. Like, they don't play like a football game and know the outcome because they don't know how it's going to turn out. They have all this planning, all these things they do, but they can't tell exactly what the final score is going to be because this destiny is not fixed. But the mind gets all caught up in, well, how's this going to work out? Well, we don't really know. The destiny is unfolding in each moment. It's not fixed. It's not static, if you will, that it's unfolding in this moment based on your thoughts and emotions of this moment. If you're feeling anxious in this moment, you'll have something in the future that's making you even more anxious, or keep that same level of anxiety. Because whatever you focus on or your predominant emotions, that is pretty much how the next moment's going to shape up. That we need to change course. And you don't need any special skills to change course. You just have to come into this moment and choose a different way. That's easier than it sounds for many because we're so caught up in this identity, these thoughts, that we don't know the way forward. So we get panicky. We get these panic attacks, this anxiety that we don't know how it's going to work out. But the way it is just remember, like, where are my feet? Where are my hands? What do I see? What do I touch? And really engaging this moment, really learning to come into this moment to realize we are either in the story, the thoughts, beliefs, or we're here aware of our senses. knowing that we are not our senses, that we are the awareness of the senses. So we don't want to identify completely with this body. We want some separation, if you will. That when we get too caught up in being the body, being the mind, being the thoughts, then we're in this emotional roller coaster. Life is all over the place because we're identified, completely identified that this is us, these emotions, these thoughts. And it's simply not the case that the mind, the body rides on the surface of the ocean, and within you is the depths of the ocean. We want to learn to dive into the depths. That's where our power is. And some call this spiritual awakening, when you really remember who you really are. But really, there's nothing to awaken from, that you are that. The mind has made you forgetful. Because we get this spiritual amnesia, if you will, that we forget who we really are. So we go through all this complexity, all these difficulties, all this suffering. The human experience is filled with suffering. And the way out of suffering is to be here. Because you're fully here, knowing who you are, it's just peace, contentment, knowing all is well. So we're just relaxing here. And like I said, if you have a question, let me know, ask. I also have cards here as well. But we're just really relaxing, taking that time out to relax. So if you're feeling anxious, stressed, worried, you're not relaxed. You're in the mind that's future guessing, or in the past of regrets and shames and wondering if I could have done something different. But if you're just learning to be here, that's enough. And when you really remember who you are, then it's contentment, peace, just this humbleness that you realize that life is well, unfolding in perfect order, and there's the striving sort of declines, if you will, this doing energy, because you're just realizing life is unfolding as it needs to unfold, and you're taking those actions, those steps in this moment. Well, I'm not really seeing any questions, but if you did join late, I'm announcing in these two groups tomorrow, two events coming up in December, returning home to health. December 6th, December 5th at 11 a.m. and December 6th at 7 p.m. So that'll be a group healing. Then I'll also do individual healings in the style and technique, I guess you could say, of Charlie Smith, because he's the closest I can think of that does what I do today for this healing of just tuning in and correcting energy imbalance, if you will. All right, let me just see what the final message is here for the talk about today, and then we'll call it a day, and we'll see you next week, and we'll see you at these events, and life is good. Actually, no, next week is next Friday is the 1st, so it'll be after that. Okay, so it's all about the Dancer of Inspiration and the tribes. The tribes, just really reminding yourself that we are a tribe of spirit. Again, we get hung up on all this humanity, but we're really just a tribe of spirit. Just remembering who we really are, that we're all interconnected, and that we all are striving for the same things, peace and harmony. But it's really about remembering that state of love and tapping into this deeper state of love, of knowing that all is well, all is in perfect order, and just to go within. My process is always very simple. Like I tell people, I like to keep things concise. I'm not a big fan of word salads, of complications, of difficulties, of all this learning and understanding. As Papa G would say, the Indian sage, there is no teaching, there is no teacher. because it is that state of oneness. And the mind gets into the state of illusion that there is something to learn, something to understand, and there is someone called a teacher. That's all separation. When you break it all down, everything you need to know is already within you, and there is no separation because there's no you and me. We're all the same consciousness at this deeper level. We're all just an extension of source. But we're just finding the peace here. Just remembering the peace. This is your true essence. We get hung up in all this busyness and all this doing. We just have to remember, I'm here. My feet are on the ground. I'm sitting. I'm listening. And it's really this simple. All right. Not much to share today. Not seeing any questions or comments. But I'll see you in 10 days or so for the healing event. And I'll announce it tomorrow in the groups. And they are small groups on Zoom. Just a handful of people, maybe 10, 12. And we'll see who wants to join in, who wants to return home to health. It could be wealth. It could be better relationships, about learning to act from this deeper place. All right. Well, take good care of yourself. Have a good day, good weekend, and just take care of you. Make yourself a priority. That's really the biggest difference, is make yourself a priority so you can better help the world, so you can make a better impact. We can't really do this if we're not in our strength. And in this moment is about being in our strength. All right. Take good care of yourself. I'll talk to you soon.